Carl Yolanda Helverson, and you are watching Living Green on a Blue Planet. For this episode, we're going to follow one agency, and that agency is Save Maumee. It's a group of dedicated, dynamic people out in New Haven, Indiana. They have a piece of land that juts out into the Maumee River. The members collect garbage and debris. They remove invasives. They beautify the trail. But most importantly, they test the water, because the water of the Maumee River flows directly into Toledo, and there is a history of toxic algae bloom. So it's important for people to know ahead of time what's going downstream. And so that's their mission. They also work with community members. So we're going to follow them for 1 week. On July 26, 2025, there's the dedication of the Yolanda Way. And the Yolanda's Way is the trail that's named after Yolanda Alvarez, who died 2 years ago, who was a very dedicated volunteer, logged more hours for the last couple of years than anyone else, but also has a long lifetime history of being involved in social justice issues. And her family came in from all over the country, and there was this beautiful dedication, and then people enjoyed the trail. A couple days later, there was a tour of the farm, because connected to Save Maumee and their trails is a 10-acre garden. And so Save Maumee works with the Burmese community, giving them places to farm, but also to learn how to farm in North American soil with North American plants. And so we get this tour of this very productive garden, and then the Burmese members cook this great food for us. And so that was a great night. And then at the end of the week, on August 2nd, there is the fundraiser. The last group that you'll see playing is the Grateful Groove. And so it was a fun way of generating income so that this dynamic group could do the important work that they do. Hi, so I'm with Save the Maumee, and this is a group that's local, that's active, that the people involved in it find all different creative ways to fundraise and to use the land, including not just restoring it, but working with other communities in terms of learning how to farm in the land next to it. So with me today is...
I'm Jesus Rosario. I'm the president of the board for Save Maumee.
I'm Noah Piparski. I'm also on the board.
High-powered group. So can you tell us about what exactly is Save Maumee?
Sure, yeah. Save Maumee started as a humble grassroots organization, just picking up trash along the riverside as a voice for our rivers. And we've kind of grown and morphed into a pretty great staple in conservation practices. We do a lot of invasive removal and replanting of native species to include trees. Our main aggressors are the Asian bush honeysuckle, honeysuckle in general, and Calvary pear, things like that make bigger trees. But we also do a lot of events throughout the year for promoting of not only clean rivers, but just environment and ecosystem in general.
Yolanda for me is just a real inspiration and like a picture of what our later time in life can look like. You know, a lot of people, we get older and we get less active and we kind of almost like wither away, but not Yolanda. Like Yolanda, the last years of her life, she was out here day in and day out. She was working hard and, you know, doing a lot with her life, and it's an inspiration. And I hope that is like, I hope that when I'm that age that I'm the same way. And I really don't have other to say that like we love Yolanda, and we're so glad that we can dedicate this trail, Yolanda's Way, to her. Yolanda's Way is not just about, the name kind of has two meanings because it's a trail, but also it's about Yolanda's way, her way of being, her way of living, and it's a way that we could all like emulate. And I'm really excited. And at this time, like if anyone from Yolanda's family wants to come up and say something, that'd be awesome.
I'm never at a loss for words.
Right.
I'm Jesse. So there's Rich, Fred, me, Dave, Ed, Tom, and Joe. Anyway, as I was thinking about this last night particularly, wondering did I want to say anything, and I started thinking of the fact that besides what you know about her, she had her beginning right here in River Haven. When our parents were in their young 20s, they were migrants from Texas, picking tomatoes and things like that. And so my two older brothers and Yolanda were born in Texas, and their first language was Spanish. Fred was the first one born in Indiana, then I was born here in Fort Wayne. But at the beginning, they had a little kind of Depression era, kind of humble little place here in River Haven. And here she made wonderful friends with a lady named Dorothy Atkinson. Chain smoking, cursing, hillbilly, call it that. And they became lifelong friends. But then we moved not long from that to Chestnut Street, which isn't far from here. Again, in a humble kind of a building. I understand it used to be a garage, kind of a ramshackle garage. This wonderful man named Mr. Cook, he was belonged to this Harvester Missionary Church. Met my mom and my mother, and as usual, he was taken by my mother and my father in our story, and he converted this shacky garage into living space. And well, I always have a way to go off on tangents, but for me it was always a one day a week bath in a tub, and I always wondered how did she heat water for 8 boys and 1 girl. So but anyway, so and then she grows up to be this teenager, and she winds up at Lutheran Hospital, and there she decides that she wants to organize the service workers at Lutheran Hospital, and she leads them out on strike. And one famous incident from that is, who was it? The feminist, Gloria Steinem, came to Fort Wayne, and Yolanda was at one of her public gatherings, and Yolanda apparently went up to her and said, "Hey, you talk big about women and supporting them," and she told her about the Lutheran strike going on, and wanted Barbara Streisand to take up the cause. And I don't know what happened other than that Barbara apparently did take some action on furthering that. So Yolanda got her beginning really, really early in social activism. And then, of course, she goes to California with her, I'll just say girlfriend, I don't like the word partner. Whatever you say that is. But anyway, Rosie and there Yolanda went to UC Davis, and I guess she studied from time to time, but most of the time she was out, taking part in all kinds of things. The farm workers strike, she became close to Cesar Chavez, and in that group she got involved in the American Indian movement, and she made the trek from California to Washington, D.C. with the Native Americans. And then she's, if you ever saw her scrapbook, of all the headlines she made in and around San Francisco, leading this protest, leading this student outage, leading just, and then of course she moves here, moves with my mother, again over here on Rogers Street. She always seems to want to come back to here, east side. And then she can't do anything else but do some wonderful work, so she hooked up with an abused women's shelter on Chestnut Street, just right up the street from where our old house used to be. And she did that work for a number of years until she began her Social Security and all of that. And I don't know what happened between that and your group, but she landed with this group. And as I've just heard, I had no idea it was that intense, but it's pure Yolanda. She does not know how to do anything but dive in. And she's got this leadership persona, this gravitational force that seems to attract people to her. And so we're her brothers. We're so proud, and we are so amazed that at the end of her life, the last thing about her, Yolanda, unlike a lot of us, we do things because they're good for us. We're told, well, you should get married. It's going to be good for you. You should have children. It'll be good for you. You should go to school. It'll be good for you. All these things are good for you, but you don't often think of the purpose. Where did the impetus come from? And so that's one thing about Yolanda. She didn't do this for her to have this honor. She didn't do it for to make admirers and have all this standing. She did it because the environment, and towards the end of her life, she started thinking more about God. Not a lot, but enough to think about it. And I would ask her, so more or less, like, is this about God? She said, well, no, she didn't need that. She just needed to know that this was good. And it's important to do good things, but not for how they benefit you, because they're inherently good. It's the right thing to do. So that's what I really remember about how she managed to come out here. God, I wouldn't spend out here 5 minutes with these mosquitoes. So. No, I'm not going to pick up. No, that would not be good for me. But that's what I have to say. But thank you all very much. Thank you for this honor. And we're going to be really proud to lead with this moment. So thank you very much.
We're all afraid we're going to stand up here and cry. Yes, I am over here. So I'm Jane Young, and I'm on the board of Save Maumee, and I've worked with Yolanda over the years, not as much as some of the other people in this room that were out in the woods with her on the riverbanks. But I do want to fill in just a little bit from the last person. That gap in between, she was very involved in the peace movement. She was a member of Fort Wayne for Peace and was down there doing demonstrations down at the courthouse a lot with her friend Bill White, and so I can fill that in. Also, a young friend of mine borrowed from Yolanda all the memorabilia and documents from her time organizing the Lutheran workers' strike, and then that young person returned them to me, and I still have them. And so members of her family would like to take possession of those documents, all the letters and the newspaper clippings and all that. I have that, and I would be happy to pass it on. And I'll just say just a little bit about Save Maumee for people who don't know. Save Maumee is about 25 years old, and we try to affect water quality all the way downstream into Lake Erie. So we do things on this end to stabilize the stream banks and absorb pollutants so that when it gets downstream at Lake Erie, it's not producing the toxic algae blooms that everybody's heard about. Back in 2014, they had to close the water supply to Toledo. And so we work on this end so that that doesn't happen down on that end, and so that the fish will thrive and the Lake Erie will remain productive. So that's all I have to say. Please don't be afraid to cry. If you want to say something, come on up.
Thank you. I guess at this time we'll go ahead and officially open up the trail. Brian, you want to come up and help me
you want to grab
this
that
sign?
side, I'll grab this side.
Then we'll have Jen come up and read.
So I'm Jen Goulet, Aaron's wife. Like Jane said, I didn't work with Yolanda nearly as much as some of the people, but you don't have to know her more than 5 minutes to absolutely fall in love. And when Aaron and I had the discussion about, dedicating the trail and whatever and coming up with a name, I didn't really think of this as a poem, but more kind of as a reminder to those that loved her. and as an inspiration for future generations that may walk this trail that she walked. So here it is, Yolanda's Way. Yolanda's Way is hardworking. Yolanda's Way is dedicated. Yolanda's Way is loyal. Yolanda's Way is feisty. Yolanda's Way is determined. Yolanda's Way is a little rebellious. Yolanda's Way is kind. And Yolanda's Way is love.
And I'm really excited for everyone to get a chance to see it.
How far is that trail go?
It's exactly a mile. So we do have a gator that for folks, yeah. We do have a gator that'll fit 4 people if anybody wants to come on the trail. And, not have to
guys
walk.
should go.
Yeah, it'd be like the
On a
first
little
one.
gator,
Yeah.
little Jeep.
Yeah, little
He can around.
You never get to that.
Oh, definitely. I've already seen it, so.
Right, that's right.
David.
Feel free to start walking the trail this way. Or the other way, meet in the middle.
Thank you.
Yeah, good plan. So, is the trip line? The event is at 5. Oh, there's a active Superfund toxic waste site with a huge underground toxic waste plume in the groundwater, all the way up to, I know it comes at least within a half mile, probably all the way up here. And so I was not about to irrigate the garden with this toxic waste in the groundwater that I know is there. It's still active. They say it's been remediated. There's still a plume. Right down the street here is what we call a River Haven unincorporated area. You can see it in the water. They're all still you can see it. It's bad. But that's get me started on that sometime. So we paid to go 200 feet deep. We put a 200-foot deep tube well in here to get way below the groundwater and get clean. It's really sulfury, which the plants like. Then we tried to get electricity in on the pole, and they said, oh, that pole's due to be changed out. We can't give you service, so we changed the pole. And there was storm damage they had to deal with first and stuff, so we actually rented a diesel generator, pulled it in right here. My brother John got it for us. He's the one that put in the electrical panel as well. And we ran that well pump on a diesel generator for the first time. And so it was a lot of crazy things to overcome that first year. But we didn't get planted. We didn't start planting in the middle of July. But we got it planted. We had a great harvest. I think because that farmer that was doing the corn had already put his great nitrogen in it. We had a lot of big stuff and grew really nice. That year, daikon radish as big as my arm. It was great. But and we had we sold down at the Bar Street Farmers Market that first year. The last 3 weeks we got in on the last 3 weeks of the summer market. And we did the winter market till the end of November or so. And then one of the farmers said, we need to have a market at Autumn Woods. Autumn Woods is in Burmese neighborhood off of South Anthony. And we need to have a market down there. So I listened. So I'm not a farmer. You know, I'm just trying to provide what they need to make this happen. And so we ended up, with the help of John Dorsch, bless him, getting a League for the Blind to allow us to have our market in their lawn and parking lot. Out of this, I think the tilled part is probably 8 acres, 7 or 8 acres. And the peak of the season at that market, between 2 and 6 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, we'll sell $10,000 worth of produce out of this farm, just on one Saturday afternoon. And you know, beginning of the season, it's not that it ramps up. That's the peak of the season, and then it goes back down. So we go to sometime in October, when after the frost, when the sour leaf is done, or not pretty much. And so, so that's kind of the story of what how we're doing things. And so we just walk down the edge of the field. There's nothing planted in the hoop house right now. That's another whole story. We're having trouble with the building department and permits. And Karen's got some gourds or squashes or something going out here. Pumpkin? Burmese pumpkin. Burmese pumpkin? Nice. Way in the back, under the trees, there's beehives. We have Glenn Heil comes and does beekeeping out here. Give us some extra pollinators.
And if people want to be involved in your organization, and they don't know what they have to offer in terms of knowledge or skills, they just know that they care, how could they get involved with you guys?
That's a very good question. Thank you for that. Definitely go to savemaumee.org or check us out on Facebook just to follow along and see what we're doing. We actually have made our membership super simple. We just want your time. We want your volunteer time. Come out to the site, get to know the site, get to know the trails, get to know the system, get to know what we do, and volunteer your time. Whenever we have an event or not a public event as well, we usually have various things going on at the site. Noah and other board members and other members come out and do cleanups. We have picked up and picked out a ton. 640 pounds of trash since August. Since August. Yeah, since August. Just trash alone is over 600 pounds. And with the metal, we try to repurpose the metal as well. We have some artists that come out and they do a great job of trying to weld those together into different statues and different figures, sculptures. So definitely come check those out. Those are really, really cool. I'm happy about those. So thanks for that, Noah. But definitely come check us out and follow along. Like I said, we are just a volunteer. Once a member, always a member. We are looking for corporate dollars, not anybody's individual hard-earned cash. So what we want to do is inspire just the education portion and inspire people to get involved and get their hands in the dirt, in the soil, and appreciate nature.